All right, click the links to join the channel here on YouTube. Subscribers are now over at Odyssey. Thanks to 16 new members on Odyssey and the 5 members on YouTube. I think as long as I have YouTube members, I'm going to keep making YouTube videos. So Disney lost 1 million subscribers in Q1 after increasing prices. So it's a combination of a lot of things. You have a dozen streaming platforms. They're all raising prices. And so they're cannibalizing from each other. People are looking at it and going, well, we're going to have to... At one time, the things were relatively cheap where people had like 5 streaming services and it was, I don't know, it was like $50 a month or something. But those are introductory prices, like $6.99 or something. You're like, oh, great, I'll get a half dozen of these streaming platforms. Then after 6 months, they raise the prices and you go from, $57 a month, which might be reasonable if you're watching it and you have a family that's on board with it, to suddenly it's like $120 a month. You're looking at like, this is just not worth it. And there's other avenues you can take to get like 2 5-terabyte hard drives. I think are like $100 each. You can set them up in a parallel. What do they call that? RAID or something? Where you just download the one and it parallels it for safety reasons to the other in case you have a drive failure or something. And VPN and you pretty much, you have everything you'd ever need. You never need to actually, and it doesn't need a network. It's all the intranet on the home network. Anyway, sailing this high, I don't think you can say that on YouTube. I mean, where it's, where stuff is legally available to be downloaded and kept a copy. I think with DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff, I think it used to be able to legally make copies for your own use. You had to crack the encryption, but that turned out to not be that hard. After all, you could even do it with VCRs or VHS tapes. You just had to put the cables directly into your video card, and you could rip that for your own personal use. That was legal. Anyway, so this one commenter, which set off a little bit of a storm because he mentioned the wokeness, says, "You mean when you don't release good stories, obnoxiously push an agenda, spend hundreds of millions of dollars on shows that somehow all look worse than a ragtag team of producers in Japan with $12 million to work with, you'll lose subs? No way." And that triggered a bunch of people. Unfortunately, I am kicked off of this account for some reason. I guess I was speaking a little too much truth to power. Get to 5,000 followers, and they just show me the door. Because he mentioned the woke stuff, and it's a combination of all this. The stuff is woke, and it's also not finding an audience. And I think somebody's talking about the Marvel shows and the Star Wars shows are doing well. What planet are okay, they're subjective and objective. And objectively looking at the numbers, they have not done well, and you can tell this secondhand by going online and seeing what the buzz is. Star Wars had 8 streaming shows from The Mandalorian was their first one. That was probably their biggest one, to Andor. I don't even remember the rest. They're friggin' horrible, and there wasn't any buzz about them online. So that's telling me that the shows are in trouble. And then they had a bunch of streaming Marvel shows, and the numbers were released for those, and they had was it Secret Wars or something, where they spent as much on a movie for it, and it was an absolute bomb, and it was like $250 million loss. But all these shows, none of the Star Wars shows found an audience, and some of the Marvel, the comic book stuff did find an audience. She-Hulk was a bomb, but there were some of the other ones were hits. There was buzz online about that, but I don't think that's making up for the ones that are losing money. But again, the problem with Disney, if you're expecting them to crash and burn, is they have old IP money coming in, and they're going to have that for a long time, to the tune where they can kind of effectively subsidize these new propaganda movies where they make the Eternals, where there's a bunch of gay BLT trans furry other keen themes in the background. So you're saying you made these space gods? Yeah, that's right. They're like carbon-based computers or something. Cool. Like the Kirby comic book, right? Yeah, space gods. Except in his, I think they're all blonde-haired, blue-eyed, which is kind of interesting for Kirby. But you gave them disabilities, and like one guy is 50 pounds overweight, and one girl's hard of hearing or something. Yeah, that's representation. That's really silly, is what that is. That's really, really silly, because they're custom-made space gods. You're gonna make them the peak of perfection, like 25-year-old, perfect health type of stuff. It's weird that you give them a disability, and the Chinese guy is easily 50 pounds overweight. So you want to explain that? representation, yeah, that's really lame. Diversity, representation, inclusion, that's all cancer. How well did the Eternals do? I think it lost $100 million. Oh, how well did the Marvels do? That lost $200 million. How well did that Red Panda do, where they're kind of taking those under the age of majority and putting them in prurient themes with kids? That was weird, and I think that lost over $200 million as well. That was Black Pilled on Odyssey did a breakdown of that panda movie, what the hell it was called, that Red Panda movie set in Canada like 2006. And he just broke it down, every little degenerate. It was like that island off the coast of Florida, that Weinstein guy, that type of energy. It was, when you watch something as an adult and it leaves you vaguely uncomfortable, there's something going on with kids, and it's just something's wrong here. And he, I don't know that guy's name, Devin Stack, I think. He does Odyssey live streams, and it's a huge platform for him. That dude has got a massive audience over at Odyssey. It's really powerful. It's a shame all these people can't be on YouTube, but the more people that stream off platform from YouTube, the better. Where was I going with this? So this person's trying to make up for the Disney Marvels and Star Wars. It's like those aren't working. Let's get to the article. So they raised prices, and they had MCU problems, and they definitely had Star Wars problems. So Disney said in the interview with, I think it was Bob Iger after he took over for Bob Chapek, they made it, and who's that guy, Plotz or something? He's trying to do some kind of takeover because he's got enough shares or something. And the thing is, like, if you think people thought Chapek was going to improve over Iger, and then Iger, no, that did not happen. Then Iger was going to come back and change it from Chapek, and then this new guy, the shareholder, I forget his name, Plotzman or something, is going to set the course right. No, it's all deck chairs on the Titanic. They're all these people are far toxic left-wing nut jobs who more gay. No, the audience doesn't want any more gay diversity or any of that kind of stuff. So we're going to put more of that in the movies. By all means. I mean, obviously, most of us are checked out of Disney, and if you let your kids watch this stuff, it's abuse. Like I said, a couple of terabytes of hard drive and a VPN, and you will never need to support one of these companies ever again. And that is always moral and just to do that sort of thing. So they're canceling project. Oh, in the interview with Iger, he said, yeah, the She-Hulk type of stuff, and he said it carefully because he doesn't want to say his own shows were crap, which is what they were, especially the Star Wars show. But he really can't complain about Star Wars because that's so tied into their theme park, and they had this expectation of making Star Wars and MCU movies beyond just streaming and getting hundreds of billions of dollars in profit. And people are looking at the next movie that's coming up with the Mary Sue character, Daisy Ridley. With some woke director, some Pox Walks, furry otherkin type of director who's only hired because she checks a bunch of Larry Fink type of diversity boxes, and looking at this and like, oh, this is probably gonna be a bomb, isn't it? I hope so. I hope so. We'll see when that comes out. That I might actually go see that one in the theater. Definitely the matinee showing. So there, he does the interview and goes, yeah, we're going to tighten up the ship a little bit because we're not, and he says it in all that like corporate double speak where he just can't come out and say, because he can't come out and say the themes we're using, these are far left wing elements, and Disney was known for being a family friendly company, but now Disney is in their version of family friendly. It's same-sex couples and adopting kids and BLT themes, all this kind of stuff. And the thing is, as the audience, you have to look at that and just kind of be honest and go, yeah, those are not our values. Oh, Istaphobe Hugo Boss says what? Yeah, whatever. Those kind of, it's okay to have a return to organic storytelling and tribal values of, we want like family values. And your definition of family is not our definition of family. We want to see, picket fence, big extended families, going to church. And for Disney, you tell them that. And God, if you mention Christianity to Disney, I think they might actually catch fire. That's how evil these people are. So you're not going to see that from Disney. And at one time, Disney was family friendly, but now their new definition of family is the sinister left-hand path of globalist type of Frankfurt School propaganda because they need to destroy nations. Actually, like the story of Disney is fascinating to watch how they had such a turnaround over the past 40 years is when they really kind of took off the mask. I guess actually post-Trump was when they really lost them. Or no, okay, because 2015 was the Disney Star Wars. So somewhere between Pirates of the Caribbean in 2003, and then the sequels were fun too. And then 2015, first Star Wars, and people saw that movie come out and like, this doesn't feel like Disney. This just feels like Larry Fink is doing a checklist for this movie. And you're, oh yes, there's I don't know what they call that test for women speaking on movies or something, and different colors of people on screen. And NBC actually released their own checklist, which is owned by Disney, and Elon Musk was talking about it, and that triggers the left-wing soy boys so hard on Twitter that people are noticing and shining spotlights on things, and they really want this stuff to happen under the table in the shadows, because these are worm people. Anyway, so Disney, Bob Iger does the interview and goes, yeah, we're just gonna tighten things up a little bit, because the shows they're putting out are losing hundreds of millions of dollars. That Secret Wars or Infinity Wars, what was it? I think it was called Secret Wars, with I forget that guy's name. I think it was with that black guy. What's his name? That was a huge loss. And I think that they had a couple of hits for the MCU, but not as many as they needed. Oh, and then there was a writer's strike. And then so some of the stuff is going over to Amazon. The writer's strike, what happened there was they go, yeah, we're going to use artificial intelligence to write the stories, because these cat lady SJWs and soy boys are so lame that we can use a computer algorithm to write better stories than they can write. And so honestly, if you're the writer's strike in Hollywood, you should have went to the wall to protest that. I don't think they did, and I don't know what happened with that, and I didn't really care, because Hollywood is over. Hollywood is over really over since 2016 when Trump got in office. Anyway, you can't support Disney. Yes, I'm telling the audience what to do, which you're not supposed to do on social media. You can't support Disney, Amazon, or Netflix, because these are people who drink the blood of those under the age of consent on islands, and they offer sacrifices to Moloch. They're just the most evil people. After I remember EVS talked about this a long time ago when the Cuties came out. And he was looking at people who were still subscribing to Netflix and Cuties. He's like, how do you like, that should be the line in the sand. I mean, there's Blue's Clues with the Cartoon Network, where they have trans anthropomorphic beavers, and they mutilate them. Oddly enough, beavers, I think, have 4 or 6 breasts or something, but because they're anthropomorphic, they only mutilated 2 of them. It's absolutely bizarre. Anyway, so he's pointing out, like, Cuties is like, this is just Weimar. I don't think he said that, but he said it's the line. It's something like the line in the sand. You can't. How do you, like, why would you have any interest in a company that does something like Cuties? I mean, it's fruit of the poison tree, but it should just, the whole thing is poisonous. All of it should turn to the taste of ashes in your mouth. Way to mix metaphors there, but you know what I'm saying. It's like, that's pure evil. That's absolute pure evil. And it's not just Netflix. It's Disney's the same crowd. It's Amazon Prime and all these. Well, Amazon Prime, I think you get with the shipping, so it's a little bit different. But all Hulu and ESPN, I mean, some of those are subsidiaries of Disney. But you get the idea. It's like, it's all, CBS, let's watch Star Trek. God, that was cancer. There's no need to support any of this kind of stuff, is what I'm saying. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'm putting a bunch of other videos on Odyssey and Rumble that are just the libs of TikTok stuff. Is just the censorship on YouTube is just so extreme that even Rumble, which is still censorious, is a little bit freer. So I'm putting stuff on Odyssey and Rumble. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.